you need to start doing your homework. You need to start understanding what this asset is, and you need to start understanding why you need to add it to your portfolio. It is amazing to me how fast these new ETFs are chewing up this GBTC sell pressure. So right now we've got Genesis, I don't know whether you've heard, that has been approved to sell $1.6 billion worth of Bitcoin, and the price isn't moving. It's stuck to 52, right? It's stuck to 52,000. The price is not moving, even though the GBTC outflows have been ramping up from 50 million a day to 200 million a day over the last few days. What this means is that we've got maybe like 7 to 10 days, maybe 15 days worth of all of this selling pressure that's going to hit the market on a daily basis. And of course, those people are going to be smart when they're selling, right? They're not just going to come out there and do a market sell order of 1.6 billion. They're going to look at what is the excess demand coming in, and it's basically like moving Bitcoin from one fund to another in essence. So this is what's happening right now, and I think it's important to understand the absolute enormity of what's going on here, right? So if BlackRock alone, let's not talk about anyone else, let's just talk about BlackRock, right? Just one asset manager with 10 trillion under management. As you guys know, if you've been watching my videos, in order for them to allocate just 1%, they need to buy $100 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? And right now they're at maybe 0.06% of that 1% allocation. So just to put this into perspective of how large of a purchase this is, they can buy $200 million a day. Someone gonna disturb me now? It's kind of crazy, right? They can buy $200 million a day of Bitcoin, and it would take them 500 trading sessions, and there's 242 trading sessions in a year. They could buy $200 million of Bitcoin every single day, and it would take them a full 2 years in order to acquire a 1% allocation in Bitcoin. So this is going to have to ramp up at some point, and the price is going to have to move. In order for Fidelity and BlackRock to make a 1% allocation together, at a price of $45,000 per Bitcoin, they would need to buy 3.2 million Bitcoin in order to make a 1% allocation to the asset. So my point here is, if you're sitting here going, oh, the ETFs have come out, everything's happened, but I don't know whether to get and secure my position in Bitcoin or not, you're fucking crazy. Like, I don't know what else there is to say here besides subscribe to the channel. And of course, look how much we've been through, right? In terms of all of the things that have happened, all of the things that I've been saying would happen and have happened. So the question is now, after all of that, will you finally subscribe? Because at the end of the day, the amount of buying pressure right now because of these ETFs is phenomenal. We've never seen anything like this in any other asset class. These ETFs are the most highest, best performing ETFs that have ever been launched in the history of American capital markets, and they are Bitcoin, right? And that is going to cause a cascading effect into the market over the next few months, especially as the halving approaches. The minimum time required for the due diligence for asset managers for dealing with people that are not multi-billionaires, right? And I don't know, maybe it sounds like a way to keep out people who could benefit the most from Bitcoin. But ultimately, just remember that $200 million of purchasing every single day, and it would take BlackRock alone 2 entire years to make a 1% allocation of current assets under management into Bitcoin. That is the enormity of the scale that we're dealing with here. That is the enormity of the sell pressure, of the buy pressure that's coming through. And that's why no matter what happens with dips here, it's making me wonder, okay, so all of this is happening and all of this buy pressure is coming through. What happens to future cycles? Do we see 4-year cycles anymore? Do they shrink? Right? Can we see that if there is going to be this they need to make a 1% allocation and they keep buying until that 1% allocation is done? What happens to cycles, right? What happens to prices going through the roof and coming back down, et cetera, because obviously if it goes through the roof, like right now there's people selling, and now there's data coming out to demonstrate that it's really retail that's selling and the ETFs are buying, which is crazy to me, right? How many people are now selling it finally because we're approaching an all-time high, and they're sort of done with the pain that I guess they had for the 2 years that they were holding Bitcoin, and now it's all being sucked up by these ETFs, and it will never see the light of day again. So there's two sides to that, right? When these ETFs are approaching their baseline allocation, they're never going to let go of that asset, right? They're never going to ever let go of that asset. So what does that mean? It's almost like lost coins, right? Because the coins are held and they're owned by the ETF. They're never going to be let go ever again. And it's sort of like it adds to the value of the network because those coins won't be traded. The next time there's a dip, those coins won't hit the market. So right now, all of these retail people that are transitioning and moving their coins from their own control, selling them into the market, and the ETF sucking it up, it's really this changing guard of the buyer that I've been talking about for months that's happening here. But ultimately, just remember this: $200 million a day worth of purchasing going on. Net over the last first 26 days of these ETFs trading, and in order to make a 1% purchase, BlackRock would have to do $200 million individually, just itself, $200 million a day for the 500 trading sessions, which is basically 2 years, because there's 242-ish trading sessions per year. So this demand is not slowing down. It's chewing up the selling pressure, and when that selling pressure gets chewed up, it's now moving into the hands of people that will never ever sell it again. What the fuck do you think you need to be doing right now besides studying Bitcoin and understanding how you can add this to your portfolio to give yourself the ability to protect the wealth that you have spent your life working for? That is the point of Bitcoin. It is scarcity. You are purchasing scarcity. So get to work. But ultimately, despite BlackRock buying $200 million of Bitcoin every single day, no matter what, there are always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.